Hello and welcome back to Hollowponds Solo Sagas. So today it's a Saturday, it's probably a Saturday, we are going to play some indie games on Saturdays for a bit, some of the smaller, more indie games. This one that I'm playing this week, I've been planning to play, well, during 2024 I planned on playing and never got around to it. It's Campfire Story by Peter Scholtz, who we will say, Peter Scholtz of Entity fame. So I played Entity and I will finish off the campaign probably sometime this year. There's Entity for you. And there's my little promo thing that I've started sticking down in the corner because someone suggested it. So not to break the flow, darling. And breaking the flow we are not. So Campfire Story is basically, it's like a little horror game set around exploring a camp. Now, Mandy and I, you can get it on drive-thru. I'll put a link up there. You can get it from drive-thru. Just to let you know, if you get it on drive-thru and you follow any of the links that I put up, I've stuck an affiliate thing on the end, and I get, I think it's 5% or 7%, something like that, which I then get from drive-thru, and I use that to buy supplements and things. Which Campfire Story, which is what I use to get a Campfire Story. So just so you know, any link is affiliate link. And what do you say? And it supports the channel. That's what you say. Talking about supporting the channel, thank you for returning if you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, you can hit the subscription thing and you can subscribe. It'd be very much appreciate it if you did do that. Thank you very much. We also have the Adventurers Guild. Thank you so much for all your support, members of the Adventurers Guild. It is incredibly welcome. Thank you so much indeed. And that's that. So, yes, Campfire Story, slight horror thing. This is the sort of imagery within Campfire Story. Gives you the idea. Campfire Story. So the game is set in that you wake up in one of those holiday camps, like those children camps, like Camp Cove, Camp whatever, from the slasher film type horror camps. But it's desolate. It's hardly anyone there, there's just you. It can be played solo, but it also can be played with other people. But Mandy and I have just finished watching, my time, the first series of Alone, Australian Alone. Do you know Alone? People profess to have fantastic survival skills and they get dumped somewhere. For this one, it was 10 people dumped off the west coast of Tasmania. Basically, they got dumped in a load of mud next to a river, and then they have to use their skills. They can take 10 things themselves and they can try and survive. So I thought, what if somebody was dumped in the Alone type setting and things go a bit bad, their satellite phone that they have to call if there's an emergency stops working, and during the night there's a weird sound, so there's a creature. Sorry, I just noticed while shuffling these cards that a couple of them were upside down. These are not the cards that I normally use, which are the ones that PO provided for me. Thank you very much, PO. I will mention that whenever I use cards because I'm very grateful for that. These are a pack that I found that are Mandy's, that are Munich. I think they're from a Munich beer garden, playing cards, so we will use those for Campfire Story. Yes, so let's say you're in Alone, you wake up in the middle of the night, your satellite phone has stopped working, you are on your own, there is the campfire, it's maybe your first or second night, you didn't go home after the first night, which somebody did, and why would you sign up and go through all of that to just stay there, and on the first night you phone in and you say, I want to go home, I miss my kids. Like, didn't you realise you were going to miss your kids before you got on the boat? Was it only after getting off on a muddy shore that you realised you actually do love your family and being sitting in the rain overnight isn't worth being? I just don't, it's just me. Anyway, so we're going to play Campfire Story. We're going to do a character who has gone off to be on their own and has woken up, but the campfire is burning and there's some noises somewhere and they're going to have to go investigate. Now, they're not only investigating to find out what the noises are, they're investigating because they need supplies to stay alive because they're alone. They only have so many things. So we are going to create our character and run through the character creation process for Campfire Story, and then we're going to play through the investigation loop. Now, how it works is that when we go investigating, we pull cards off the deck. Once we've consumed the whole deck, we don't shuffle back in because we're only a solo player. That is the end of the story, and then we'll write in the end of the story. Or we'll say we've escaped or something happens. There's various incidents that occur, and we can maybe escape. If we encounter a monster and defeat it, we're going to say that everything is going to be fine. If we never encounter the monster and it just hounds us or it destroys us, then that's bad. And if we get through the deck, then we are there forever and nobody ever comes to save us. In fact, the night never ends. So, how do you create a character in Campfire Story? Well, first, each of your main characters has 4 body attributes, which are signified by the suits of the deck of cards, because depending on what sort of attribute roll you make, depends if you randomly pull a card. Also, interestingly, it uses D12s. So I had to dig out a bunch of D12s that I got to play, I think it's the Fantasy Snarling Badger skirmish game, which I never actually played, but I bought a load of D12s to play it because it sounded really good. There is a solo version. Maybe we'll go back to doing solo skirmishes. So, your main character has 4 attributes: body, dex, wits, willpower, which we allocate 8, 7, 6, 5, depending how we want. So, let's say our person, so we've got wits is your perception or deduction, resistance to horror or persuasiveness is willpower. We're going to say that because they're not going to get off the bus and call to go straight home, they have got high wits and willpower. So we'll give them their willpower is an 8 and their wits is a 7. We are going to say their body and their physical endurance is their next best, which is a 6, and their dexterity is a 5. So they're not as dexterous or as speedy, but they are quite strong and have endurance, but mostly they have the willpower to stay there, because really I think that's what makes the decider when you're in a situation like this. It's not to do with your physical attributes, it's to do with your mental attributes. Do you have the resilience? Do you have the willpower? So next we go along with, now it uses a mechanic. Obviously Peter took the mechanic from this because this predates Entity for this part, which is how you take damage, and he carried it over, which is you have 12 inventory slots, and those slots also take up your damage, which is what happens in Entity to the android in Entity. Did I call it Welcome? I think I did. As you take damage, they occupy parts of your slots. If all of the slots are filled, then you can't function anymore. Now within the game, it mentions you can have followers. We will not have followers, but we might encounter people. Some of the encounter cards you turn up might have people. If there are, then we will have people appear. Though we're in an alone situation, so we can situate ourselves on the west coast of Tasmania. You can imagine it. I'll stick some pictures up. The west coast of Tasmania is pretty barren. We'll see some pictures of where, or you can watch that series. It's the first series of Australia alone, and see what sort of situation it is. It's very muddy banks. The trees look burnt and it looks though it's subtropical. There is also there's not many animals there, so there are marsupials, various different marsupials. The Tasmanian devil, the marsupial, I think it's a marsupial. Tasmanian devil is available. The waters have eels and trout. So though there are poisonous spiders, there's poisonous spiders and snakes. There's a tiger snake, which is the 4th most poisonous snake in the world, is there. So there are various things like this, but there's not many people. But if we do turn over a people card, there will be people. Are they real? Are they hallucinogens? Are they people that have come from another realm? We don't know, but we'll write that into the story. So we start off, our character has 3 resources in their inventory where we can write down and we label it as an R to say it's resources. So they start with 3 resources. So we will say fishing line and hooks. You use up resources to give you benefits when you do rolls, and the rolls work against a difficulty number, a target number, and 2d12. So let's say the target number is an 8. We have failed because both of our numbers rolled above the 8. Let's see, our target number is 7. We have failed because it's above that. 212. Well, I'm just rolling doubles. What is this? So that would be a weak success. So basically it's an iron sworn, strong hit, weak hit, fail. So we've got fishing hooks, we can have a flint and steel, and we will have a knife. Well, a knife isn't really a resource, is it? A resource is something that gets used up. So we are going to have another resource, torch, because it can run out of battery, can't it? So we can have 2 assets. We're going to have a first aid kit. Oh, 1 asset, hold on. Okay, so we are going to have... Now, they weren't allowed a bow and arrow or a gun in Tasmania because you're not allowed to hunt with a bow and arrow or a gun in Tasmania. So I'm going to say we're going to have a knife and a first aid kit. So we're going to have 2 resources instead of 1 resource. Okay, and we start off with 1. So let me just say. So let me say. With the resources. So with the resources, if we burn a resource, then we can increase the target number by 1. So if our target number was 7. It doesn't really help us, but let's say that was an 8. If our target number was 7, we could burn a resource, increase the target number to 8, and then that would give us a strong success. With an asset, we can burn before we do the roll. We can burn one of the boxes or one of the assets to give ourselves an extra D12. So let's say our target number was 7. We then could not use that one. We just use these 2. And then we've got a strong success. We also have a premonition, so a vision that we've had. So let's see, what could we do as a premonition? Our premonition is that we're going to break our leg. Our premonition is we're going to break our leg, and what that allows us to do, so 7s, we can choose 1 dice and re-roll it. And that would give us a strong hit. Oh, all those examples worked. So, we've covered the rolls. We know that we can take those. Now, how we can take harm is we can use those things up, or we can actually take harm, which would fill a block. We can suffer from stress, and there's some other stuff that can happen to us. So how it works is, as I said, we go through the deck, which is called the Fate deck, and we turn over cards as we do investigations, as we explore, part of the exploration cycle. And if we turn over face cards, we build a separate pile of those, and those will become an ambush deck. So something bad will happen and we'll get ambushed. So I think the best thing to do is why don't we play through? We'll play through it for a bit. Okay, so first off, we draw a card. We start drawing cards from the Fate deck. So basically, here we go. Let's set the scene. So we've woken up in the middle of the night. It's dark. We can't see anything. We have our fire, which is still burning in front of us. We know why we're even so this is what it says in the book. You wake up in an old summer camp in a roaring fire near a lake with a thick haze in the moonlight. You look around, but the place doesn't look familiar, and after a while you realise that you don't remember how you got here or why. That's not what we're doing. We've woken up in the middle of the night and we can hear something out in the woods. Something is moving. We know why we're here, and we're hungry. We've been here 2 days and we need to get some food. Something is moving in the woods. That could be a wallaby or a palamine. Palamine? Basically, it's like a wallaby. So we are thinking, let's go find ourselves some food. I'm hungry and I want food. So we are going to take let's see, I haven't written it down. We've got a stick. One of our, instead of that asset being a knife, we're going to say the asset is a big stick. We're going to take our big stick and we're going to go off into the woods exploring, even though we're sure we've had a premonition that we're going to break our leg. So what we do is we turn over a card. So if the card is an ace to a 10, then we lay that in front of us and we turn over another card. If it's the same number as we've already got, it's not, it's a 3. I shuffled those well, didn't I? So what we do is, okay, so what we have is an event occurs. So we have a 2 and a 3, so we have an event. Okay, we pick which one we want of these 2 events. So we have the 2nd of diamond, or the 2 of diamonds, or the 3 of diamonds. Okay, so what we've got is, we have the 2 of diamonds, 3 of diamonds. So what we've found is we've found a secret place. So whilst exploring the woods, we find what looks like another camp. So we're out and we find what looks like another camp deep in the woods, which is weird, because we're meant to be, we're meant to be alone. But so what this says is, it seems you have found some kind of secret hideout. It looks like a place where you can relax. Although it's cold, so the fire's not lit. So we would then have to try and light a fire. We may heal 1 stress, we haven't got any, and then we can choose to spend 2 resources to heal 1 harm, or an extra 2 stress, 3 in total. We haven't got any stress. So we found this camp, so those 2 get discarded. We're not going to bother staying here because we want to know what that noise is. So we push deeper into the woods to try and find that noise, remembering where this camp is and thinking it's very weird that we're supposed to be alone. Get 4 clubs. And we continue exploring deeper and deeper into the woods. It's getting dark and our torch begins to flicker. 5 of clubs. Okay, so 5 of clubs. We've got 5 of clubs or the 4 of clubs. So we'll do the 4 of clubs. 4 of clubs is you see a monster chasing something, and then it says action check. So chasing. Okay, so that's a wits. Right, all right, so we need to make a wits check. Okay, so our wits is a 7. We need to, so we're taking the 4 of clubs, is you see a monster chasing, let's say, a deer. For some reason, a monster chasing a deer. So we can roll what the monster looks like, but we don't really see it properly at this stage. All we can see is this dark force chasing a deer. We need to make a wits check to survive this, or we are going to take injury. So we take stress or damage. So our wits, it's clubs means that we decide it's wits, because clubs is wits. So we have 7s for wits. We need to roll under 7s. So what we could do is we can boost it by 1 by using up the torch to look for a really good place to hide. That gives us 8s. So we need to roll 8s. We got a weak hit. A 9 and a 4 gives us a weak hit. So we will just quickly look up what that gives us. So we suffer 1 stress, which means we fill 1 of our 12 inventory items with stress as we duck and we hide. So terrified, we duck below, our torch breaks, the batteries fall over our torch and we lose them in the bush as we dive to the side, stressfully hiding from this weird monster that comes charging across our view. We get a 6. I'm gonna shuffle these again. This is a bit atrocious. Oh no, there we go. So it's different. So we've got a 9 of hearts or a 6 of clubs. Okay, so we can either have the 9 of hearts, which is seems to lead to some strange nightmare, or this, which I quite like, which is 6 of clubs. So we're still subtly following where 6 of clubs, where the monster went, and we're hearing over and over again weird voices start to hear, which freaks us out because we are alone. We're in the Tasmanian forest alone, and all we can hear is this voice, and the wind and the voice and the chattering of the night creatures seems to be telling us to go back. To go back, and we gain 1 premonition, which is go back. So stressing ourselves and straightening out our back, though we're being warned over and over, and then it sounds almost like the wind is saying, and the trees and the crickets and everything is just saying go back, go back. But we don't. We push forwards. 10 of hearts. Okay, so we continue pushing forwards. Oh, okay, so that becomes part of our ambush deck. We put that to the side at an angle, so as we know it's part of the ambush list. When we get a 3rd one, then we work out what ambushes us. Okay, we've got 7 of clubs or 10 of hearts, so we still don't find anything good. What's 7 of clubs? You find a bloodied letter containing, discard top 2 cards. Okay, well, let's have this. So we're moving forwards. We've got that voice, and we stumble over this log, and we face forwards into what looks like someone's bag. Inside we find a bloodied letter containing the story of somebody who is left here. It looks like it was written in their blood, that's all they had, because mind you, they're not, if they're alone. And it's possibly a past contestant's letter. Discard the top 2 cards of the fate deck, or 1 card from the darkness pile, and describe what did you find within the letter. You can use action and theme tables in the character builder. Okay, so we're going to discard this, which is part of our ambush deck. They get discarded. So it's warning us that there's something in the woods that they knew, that they put, that it's not, oh, here we go. It's not a competition. It's a ritual. I'm doing the plot of Cabin in the Woods, aren't I? And we're being given to the forest. We're never going home. So we've now been warned that this is a bad place. Can we find our way back to our camp? We're continuing moving forwards. Okay, so we've got 10 of clubs, or a two. Shall we do 10 of clubs? Because we seem to be going clubs. Okay, you find, so 10 of clubs. You find an incapacitated, we're going to say a decapitated as well, human body wearing warm clothes, surrounded by white stones. So they're in a circle surrounded by white stones splattered with blood. All of their exposed skin is covered in scrawls of a weird sort of dried up ink. They've been there for ages. Then you see something horrific. It looks like they're decapitated. So the body, so we roll a d12, 1 to 6 there's 1 resource, 7 to 10 there are 2 resources, 11 to 12 there are 3 resources. What do we get? 7s, which is there's 2 resources. There is another torch. What other resource could we have? Something that we could use up. A protein bar. An old protein bar, but they last forever. So we will continue. How long have we been going for? We'll go for a bit more, and we'll see how we go with this investigation. We've got 3 slots left, and then we're going to have to start throwing stuff away because we've only got 1 stress. So we've got a 3 of hearts and a 4 of hearts. Okay, we'll do the 3 of hearts. 3 of hearts will give us. We find a less uncomfortable place to rest. So we seem to have cycled back to that camp. As we have a stress, we can, it seems that it's not been used too long ago, we know that. So we can heal 1 stress because there's some ferns that we can pull up and cover ourselves up because we are lost in the woods, and we are going to relieve that 1 stress that we have in trying to rest our weary little head and decide what we want to do next. Where we'll keep going, we'll keep exploring. We've got the 8 of clubs, so we've rested. We spent like half an hour. We fell asleep. We fall asleep and we wake up and it's still dark. It's still dark outside and we don't know what's going on. All right, so we've got 7 of hearts. There's a message written in the message, or we've got 8 of spades. All right, we're going to use, because it's weird, the 8 of spades, which means that we've got our action that we need to compete against is a heart. This says it uses a threat. Let me just look up what a threat is. Okay, so it's got threat 2, which means we need to perform 2 action checks to get the reward. So we have, out of the woods, a character slowly, so we've walked into this little clearing, and over to our left we hear this noise, and as we stare, about 20 foot away, this person dressed in almost identical clothes to us, but they're looking really tired and worn and haggard. They have a massive shaggy beard. They still have no hair, but they're caked in mud, and they're so gaunt. Their face is thin, and they look like we don't recognise them, but it is us, but just gaunt and thin, as though they've been walking for days and weeks and months and haven't eaten. And they start to slowly walk towards us as they reach out their hand, and then they stop after about 2 foot, and their face contorts in such pain as they clutch at their stomach, clawing at their stomach with their long elongated fingernails, dropping to their knees. There's a cough and blood comes towards their lips as they stagger forwards, trying to get to their feet, but unable to. They fall to the ground face forward, tilting their head up we can see that there's red filling their eyes and their mouth, and they begin to claw their way towards us when all of a sudden there's a gut-wrenching pop and blood splatters across the floor, across the ground towards us. We need to make 2 heart, which are body checks, and we need to make 2 of them. We could suffer. What's our body? Our body's our worst stat, isn't it? Our body's a 6. So we might need to throw stuff at this. So we need to make 2 6 checks. The first one. Oh wow, full success. And then we're going to get a reward. Second one. 6s, so that's a 9 and a 7. So we could burn a resource to make the 6 or 7, and that passes. So we're going to burn a resource. So what are we going to burn? The torch. We were going to use the torch to see what's going on and rush forward and see if we can help this person, who when we get there, they're going to have melted into the ground, leaving behind whatever it is. And there's just going to be dirt smeared all over it. Now, what was the thing we could do with an asset? Asset was beforehand. Premonition is we can re-roll it, isn't it? We need a premonition to re-roll. Oh, the go back. We're going to use up the premonition go back. We realise who this is. The go back, which means we can re-roll the 9. We need to get under 7s. 10 is another fail, so we can't re-roll that. So that is a partial success, which is a stress. And I think we still get the reward because of a partial success, which is a D, an 8. 8 would be a follower. Because we're not using followers, there is nothing. We don't get anything. So as we go forwards towards the spot, there is just an empty smear on the ground. There's a strange liquid, and as we go down to try and touch the liquid and see what it is, it's mud, or it's water or mud or something. And obviously that we've been, we don't know what's going on, and it isn't what we think it is. We fill the mud with our fingers, and it's wet, and it's we are going to instead try and block that from our heads and then move forwards into the darkness. Okay, so we've got a 6 and a 3 of clubs. What's the 3 of clubs? 6 of hearts. So 3 of clubs is we've got somewhere to rest. We can get rid of stress. Okay. We get a premonition, and so what we do. So we're going to use the 6 of hearts. You find a little thing that reminds you of a pleasant memory home, a pleasant memory of home. What was the little thing and what was the memory about? Gain 1 premonition. So what it's going to be is it will be a wombat sitting in the tree watching us, and it reminds us of being home and going into our children's bedroom whilst they're sleeping and watching them sleeping. That was the 6 of hearts. There's no action needed. We just get 1 premonition, which I've put down as watching sleep. Continuing to explore. Okay, this is getting a bit repetitive now, and I don't know when something bad is going to happen. We've got 2, 5 of spades. Well, a spade seems to be quite horrible. Hey, we encounter a monster who tries to communicate with you. Okay, so we encounter a monster. Let's roll a monster. We encounter a monster, and it's going to try and talk to us. And it might start following us around. Okay, pick a form. What sort of form shall we have? A mammal. So a mammal comes up to us. A 1. A goat. So which one was this one? This was 5 of spades, wasn't it? So we're looking at clubs. So we're looking at a wits roll so this is wits. A wits check. So we've got a goat with a cube-shaped head. So it's a cube-shaped head goat. It's coming forward towards us. Now this could become a follower. So we have to do a wits check, which is 7s. Resources. So we're going to change that to an 8, and we're going to burn the protein bar, which turns that to an 8. And we're going to say it's injured, and we're going to use the first aid kit to give us 3 dice. So we've got 8s, and we've got 3 dice. Okay, so we've got 1 pass, so we can use, it doesn't matter which one. And then we're going to use the premonition watching sleep to re-roll that. We need to get, what did we say? We need to get under 8s. which is a 6, 2 sixes. Okay, so we have gained a goat follower. How do we write that on our character sheet? We have a goat, a weird cube-shaped head goat that's beginning to follow us around in the woods. This monstrous goat is following us around in the woods. So we proceed forwards with, oh, hold on, no, not yet. Oh no, we made that roll, didn't we? So we've convinced the goat, it's come over speaking to us. We seem to be able to understand it. So not words as in needs, it needs company and it needs us and we need it. And though its weird cuboid head is really quite disturbing to look at and doesn't seem quite real, neither does a lot of things that we've been encountering tonight. We must be asleep. This must be a nightmare. No, that counts. Because this can't be real. All this stuff we're looking at and traveling around can't be real. Ooh. So if it's not real, then it has to be a dream. Ooh. And if it's a dream, then we can't be scared of it. Oh. I thought that was going to be an ambush. That's the third card. If we get another face card, then we are ambushed. So we have the 5 of diamonds or the ace of clubs. Clubs have been interesting so far. Oh, okay. So whilst wandering around, we can, for free, without needing to roll, renew 1 asset box, which we've got as first aid kit. And what we're going to describe it as very much along the lines of, but it's a weird dream state that we're in. So very much along the lines of Fallout, where they've got those first aid boxes on the wall. We're walking through and we double take, and it looks like there's just affixed to a tree. Looks like there's part of it has got like the bathroom wall from Fallout, but it's part of the tree. And there's a box there with like a first aid kit written on. We open it up and there's the supplies to replace the first aid kit that we used. And so we can just take those supplies and we replace our first aid kit with this first aid kit from this box. And it's really weird, and we're even more convinced that this can't be real and this just has to be a fantasy, as the goat starts to nuzzle our leg and guide us down a separate path going in a different direction. Okay, we'll use the 6 of diamonds for this. So there's no action roll needed. Nearby you see a set of, let's see what. So it's making some sort of tune. So we will say that there are some bits of wood hanging from a tree, and as the wind gently blows, they're sort of like wind chimes. They're starting to knock together, and they're making this very, very soothing chiming sound as the wind blows, and the goat starts to stroke against our leg, nuzzling us, and we feel ourselves slowly drifting into exhausted sleep and falling to the ground, where we have a memory of being home, and I'm just going to put this as love. This is a premonition. We gain 1 premonition, which is linked to something, which is our partner at home, holding our hand and staring into our eyes and just telling us that we are loved and that we will be able to come home and everything is going to be fine, which is where we awaken with the weird cube-shaped goat licking our face and getting us to stand up again, where we right ourselves and our exhaustion and our hunger, and we continue, this is like cycling back, isn't it? And we continue walking. We're still feeling desperately hungry and desperately in need of some rest. We've still got those 2 face cards there. And there's our 3rd. Okay, so as that goes there, these come over here. We shuffle these, and this becomes an ambush. Okay, so we are ambushed from out of the woods by a dark, malevolent monster. All we can see is the flash of claws as it charges into us. We now have to try to fight the monster. And we fight the monster by using these cards. So we turn over the top card of the ambush deck. It's a club. A club is wits, which means we need to make a roll against our wits. Our wits has a target number of 7. So we need to try and roll against wits. We are going to use up the big stick to give ourselves as an asset an extra dice. And then so it's got 5 hit points. The monster has 5 hit points. A partial success will get us 1 hit on it, and we suffer 1 stress. A full success gets 2 hits on it. A failure, we have to resolve the ambush effect in the ambush list. Oh, okay, which depends on that card. We then find out what happens to us depends on the card. So, we've used our big stick. We're going against the Queen of Clubs. It's wits. We need to try and get under 7 of wits. We can throw that one away. So we've got a strong success, which does 2 hits on it. So as it dives towards us, we used up the big stick. We smash into this dark, malevolent, flashing blades and claws with our stick, doing 2 points of damage to it. Now we've got the Queen of Diamonds. Diamonds is dexterity. Our dexterity is 5. We will use the flint and steel. We were trying to run from it and light a fire, which adds 1 to it, which gives us a 6. And then we might need to use love, or we'll break our leg to a re-roll. We need to beat 6s. So 1 beaten, 1, so it's a partial. We are going to use the love of our loved one premonition to re-roll that. 8, which is a failure. We can't re-roll that again, which is a partial failure, which means it takes 1 hit, we take 1 stress. It has 2 hits left. Oh, that's failure, isn't it? We have, so that's wits again. Wits is 7s. We'll just roll this one. We've got a total failure, 7s, although if we burn the fishing hook and line, that will give us a success, and then that monster gets chased away and we win because that one's done it. So we're going to burn our fishing hooks, which puts our 7 to an 8, which gives us a success. Do we need to get, I think it's just equal to. Lower or equal to. So we push that up, we've used our fishing hook, so as it was diving on us and clawing at our faces, we reach into our pocket and we pull out the pre-prepared line, we wrap it around its neck and we start pulling as hard as we can, even though, which is the stress, it's cutting into our fingers. With that, it screeches, pushes us away, we go sliding across the floor, and it charges back into the woods and disappears. So that is, so we've defeated the monster. We received the reward by discarding the top 3 cards of the fate deck. 1, 2, 3. That was the King, the 9 of Diamonds, and the 4 of Spades. So all of this goes back into the deck, and we continue. I guess by the time we reach the end of the deck, we'll just say that we've escaped from the woods. So the goat is licking our face and making sure we're okay. We're very stressed. We've got 2 stress. We have a goat follower, a first aid kit, and 1 premonition. We have no resources left, and we're not looking great. Okay. That monster's obviously had it in for us. Nope. So we've got 8 of clubs as we continue to explore, and 10 of diamonds. We're going to do 10 of diamonds. You find another headless human in a tree. I was going to say in a tree, it says space. Torn from neck to waist. Where once there was a head, there is now the stump of a tree. The body lies, it says on the ground, but it's not. It's in the trees, carved into the trees. There are symbols depicting all sorts of horrors. And hanging from the tree there are, oh, here we go, this is a resource, it's candles. There are bunches of candles, so we roll a d12, and this is, we get 1 resource, so there are some candles, so we get candles as a resource. So we've had to climb up the tree, so climbing up the tree, we are shocked to find candles up there, but once we get up there, the terrifying body is just stuffed, some shirts stuffed with hay and grass. We were positive it looked real from when we were on the floor. We've still got that 1 face card, 5 of hearts. And so we're continuing into the jungle. The goat is pulling at our clothes, trying to pull us forwards. Okay, so we've got 5 of hearts. Counter a suspicious violence looking person, or ace of diamonds. You can renew one exhausted asset box. Describe. Okay, so that's the big stick. We find another big stick as we're wandering around, clutching it to ourselves. So that was the ace of diamonds. You can renew one exhausted asset box. Describe how you did it. So as we climbed up, holding onto one of the branches, as we climbed up to look at that body, it snapped and we fell to the ground, landing on our feet quite nimbly. We were quite impressed with ourselves, but we look at the stick in our hand and think, that'll do. Okay, so that's our second face card. So we're continuing wandering. The goat is beginning to make weird noises. Oh no, it doesn't. It's beginning to make weird noises and encouraging us. We're burning through this deck, encouraging us to speed up. Okay, ambushed. And its reason it's encouraging us to speed up is because out of the woods, it comes back with 5 hit points again. We are charged into by the monster. So 5. So Jack of Hearts' body. Oh dear. Okay. So body, which is a 6. We're going to use up that big stick again to give us an extra dice, and we're going to have used the candles to try and throw on the ground to make it 7s. So we've got 3 dice. We need to beat 7s. We have 3 6s, 6 6 6. Well, we would, wouldn't we? So that would have won anyway. So that is a success, which does 2 points of damage, taking it to 3. As it comes, we smash the stick into it, throwing the candles to the ground. Diamonds is dexterity, I think. Yes. It then springs at us unbeknownst. We have 5 for dexterity. So we have premonition means that we can re-roll a dice. First aid kit, we could throw the first aid kit in and get an extra dice. So we're going to throw it in because we only got 5s. We have two hits, that'll do us. Okay, so that does 2 points, so a success. As it's diving into us, that was the first aid kit, wasn't it? We've got to use the first aid kit up. It grabs us, throws us to the ground. We roll to the side, quickly grab bandage out to staunch a wound as a piece of wood, a splinter has pierced our side, as it begins to pant in an unbelievable way. And then, so we did 2, so then we need to do another 2, which takes us, it's got 1 hit point left. Because it's got 5, so we've got 2 successes so far. It charges into us again. Diamonds is dex again. We have a premonition, but we have nothing else that we can use. So we get 2 dice. We need to get under 5s, and we can re-roll 1. We get 1 5, which is okay. So we are going to have to use the we will break our leg premonition to re-roll this. Nope. So that is a partial success, which does 1 hit on it, which injures it, but it gives us 1 stress. We now have 3 stresses. We could have thrown the goat at it to defeat it, but it is defeated and it screams as it runs into the woods, and we can just feel how its hate means it wants to come back. We're becoming to get more and more stress. We've got nothing to help us now. We've got 9 of clubs and 4 of diamonds. 4 of diamonds, you spot a monster just waking up from hibernation, which would then be a wits roll. Okay, we're going to do that. So we are wandering for hours and hours. Yeah, wits. We're wandering for hours and hours as we stumble upon the dark mass in amongst some bracken, and we can hear it beginning to stir. Though it's the night, we've got a wits of 7. Double failure. We cannot re-roll anything at all. We have nothing. The only thing we can do is throw our goat follower at it. That is a failure. So we suffer 1 harm. It says all other participants suffer 2. So we suffer 1 harm as we turn to run, and we run straight into a tree, cracking the top of our skull, beginning to bleed profusely. That was a face card. We have the ace of spades, and the 2 of spades. It looks like we're getting out. You can renew 1 exhausted asset, or the 2 of spades. You find something looking like a secret passage, but it is blocked by something. Action check, which would be, so I think we'd use the ace, which is we can renew an asset, which would be big stick. So we have stumbled upon another big stick as we are trying to run around in this forest. We are getting more and more frantic as we are beginning to get more and more tired. The ground beneath you begins to turn, or 3. You find a hideout. There are a few somethings on the ground. There are traces of something all around. You can smell. You can heal 1 stress, and then you may choose to spend 2 resources to heal 1 harm or an extra 2 stress. We don't have 2 resources, so we can heal 3 stress, which is all the stress that we have. Okay, so we're going to heal 3 stress. So we found another safe place to rest ourselves. We heal 3 stress. What happens when we burn through the deck? We're about to burn through the deck. End game occurs. Okay. All right, that's cool. That's cool. I know what we'll do to round it out. Although we're getting, because we've not, this is what we've got left. We've still got 1 king there. We're getting hungry as we're starting to continue to move through. Another one over on the ambush deck as we're beginning to move through the forest. I've got a feeling it's another face card. And that we're going, it is, okay. As we're getting hungry, we're wandering. It seems like it's been hours, days, weeks. We don't know how long we've been moving through these woods. And at that point, the beast dives upon us. Oh gosh. Hearts is body. We have a body of 6. We do have 1 big stick, so we're going to throw that big stick at it. 6s. Okay. So that's a partial success, which means it takes 1 point, goes to a 4. We've got to consume the big stick, but we take 1 stress. It screeches and knocks us to the ground. Oh, same again. So this is body, which is 6s. We have nothing we can use. We could throw the goat at it, which is a partial success again. It takes 1 hit and tosses us against a tree where we can hear a crack. Something in us has broken and it's not feeling good. Clubs is our wits. This is our chance to escape. 7s. Which is a success, full success, doing 2 points. It's on 1 hit point. We've dodged into the woods and we're running into the woods. We're trying to run and lose it, and we're trying to shuffle these. I'll tell you what, I'll look up and see it, so I don't know where they are. All right, hopefully I don't know where they are. We've run from it now. The goat is trying to keep up and chase, Witskin, hey, and trying not to be left behind. 1 failure, so that's a partial, which means it does get defeated, but we take 1 stress. Okay, so it gets defeated, we take 1 stress as we start running into the woods, and we think we've lost it. So it is. We've got hardly any cards left, and then we can say we're out. Continuing into the woods, we've got 6 and a 10 of spades. And then we've got our last 2 cards. And then we'll do end game. I don't know how to describe the end game. I've already thought it. 10. You find a dismembered and mutilated corpse with a bunch of flies and other insects circling around it. The corpse looks human and is wearing human clothes and has 1 resource, so we'll say a scarf. We didn't need to write in our last 2. 7. Cool, that goes over there. So now we have end game. Continuing through the woods, we seem to be wandering for almost days. The dark doesn't change, the light doesn't change, nothing seems to change. A goat follower, as we look around behind us, seems to have moved away. It's no longer with us anymore. It's just tiring now. We're hungry and we're starving, and something seems to be up. There's something that last battle with the monster, it seemed to do to us. As it scratched us or spat at us or something went into our mouth. and something is definitely wrong. We're dirty, we're muddy, we're hungry, but ahead of us there's light. There's somebody making noises and talking to someone ahead of us. We've pushed through the clearing and ahead of us there's a person wearing familiar clothing, but they're clean and they look fresh and they look like they can help us. And so we start to walk towards us. A shooting pain runs through our stomach and runs through, and the warm moisture up into our lips as blood drips from our mouth. Falling to our knees, we drift forwards, trying to claw our way towards the person who can surely save us, surely help us. As the retching pain is too much, our stomach explodes with the pain as we gaze up into the eyes of us. That is Campfire Story. Probably has a fair bit of replayability, can definitely be played with a group of people. I reckon you could probably get, as a solo player, another 2 games out of it if you space them out a bit, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You don't necessarily have to Cthulhu-esque kill yourself off, I suppose. You could escape and you could say you get picked up. I like that. Well done, Peter. That's all right. That was Campfire Story. If you enjoyed that, do subscribe if you're not a subscriber. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing, and thank you so much to the Adventurers Guild for all of your support. If you'd like to join the Adventurers Guild, there's a link over there. To be a member of the Adventurers Guild, you get so The Walking Dead is available to you, Series 2. There's the prequels to the Forbidden Lands. There's some individual videos that I've done. There's a Broken Shore video. There's some stuff me and Mandy have done that's put up. There's also, you can get to, I'm going to do, when the Kickstart releases for Blade Runner, I'm going to have a competition for members to win some digital copies of Blade Runner. And there's stuff like that if you wish to join that. Otherwise, if you don't want to, that's cool. I'm happy for you just to watch my videos, and if you got this far, thank you very much. Thank you, Peter. That's a great game. Let's see what we play next week. See ya.